All right, good evening, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss. If you're new to the channel, of course, hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification button so you're made aware when new streams like these are added. Wanted to go live tonight because I feel like there's a lot to talk about from Fantasy Football Week 1. Not only the running back situations that were up for debate in terms of who was going to be the workload king and whatnot, but also this is a good time to have our first crisis point discussions of the season because a number of players, quite more than a few big name players, just failed to come through in terms of expectations, where they were drafted, things of that nature, and it was just really ugly. So, we're going to discuss all of those today. So, again, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And we're going to get to all of that as we go throughout the course of the evening. So I may not be reading as much chat as usual just because I have a lot to talk about today. I figured the good place to start would be the injury report. And the big one today, obviously, is Puka Nacua, placed on IR with a knee injury. He's going to miss 4 games. And really, when we saw him come off the field on the cart, we knew this was going to be bad. So, and good luck, Bobby. I think you're gonna need that. And as far as using more, I think Debo will be able to do that and give you the win. But as far as Puka Nacua is concerned, this is a sizable loss. But again, and I had referenced this multiple times during the summer, I didn't touch Puka Nacua anywhere. There was no way in hell I was paying that late first round, early second round price. No question about it. He was really good last year. But a lot of that had to do with Cooper Kupp being out, Cooper Kupp being less than 100% health-wise. And now we see last night catching, 14 passes. That the Cooper Kupp is back, right? The same guy who broke fantasy football a couple of years ago. He's that guy. He looked like that guy yesterday. It was just ridiculous. And so obviously he's going to benefit with Puka Nacua being out. Demarcus Robinson is going to step up. Tyler Johnson, Colby Parkinson, but really it's Cooper Kupp who's going to stand alone. And, if you have a draft, let's say you didn't draft yet. Let's just say for argument's sake, and you're drafting tomorrow, based on what we saw with Cooper Kupp last night and Puka Nacua being injured, you can make a case that Cooper Kupp is a first-round pick again in PPR leagues. I don't think there's any question about it. What he did yesterday was just unbelievable. And if you're a Puka Nacua owner, listen, I tried to tell you not to do it. I tried to tell you not to draft the guy. It was just not good value. I just didn't like what it was way too many. Him and Cooper Kupp should not have been drafted as far apart as they were. Meaning Cooper Kupp was going in third round, Puka Nacua was going in late first, early second. When you could have made the case that Cooper Kupp was certainly the better player. All right. And he was better. He was drawing more targets last night than Puka Nacua when both were on the field. But again, that's a big loss. It's going to impact Matthew Stafford as well. And so we're just going to have to, obviously you cut Puka Nacua loose, but it's a decent size loss for sure. Draft a Kupp and keep a regional. Listen, Ralph, the Rams, they were a fantasy goldmine last year with not only Puka Nacua, but Kyren Williams. And I think they're going to be just fine. Kyren Williams, I wasn't a fan of his either coming into the season, but he got the majority of touches out of the backfield. And we're going to discuss the running backs in a few minutes. I just want to finish up with these injury notes. But yeah, Puka Nacua, that was a big one. Now, a couple of things. Lamar Jackson, some mystery about Lamar Jackson. He didn't practice today. He didn't get on the field with the Ravens. Nothing was shared by John Harbaugh in relation to Jackson. So I don't know what's going on there. Is he hurt? Is he sick? A little secrecy there going on there, which doesn't make you feel great. So we're going to have to check back tomorrow to find out what's going on with Lamar Jackson, if anything. Could be nothing. Kenneth Walker, abdominal injury. Mike McDonald did not go there today. He didn't want to discuss it, I should say. I picked up Zach Charbonnet after the 1 o'clock games, and I'm holding him close because at this point, given Kenneth Walker's injury history, He's not the quickest healer. This is definitely something we need to monitor. Now, Walker, listen, he's going to be the bell cow back, all things being equal, when both guys are healthy, but he's no stranger to injury. And now he's already banged up. Like, two of the biggest injury-prone backs, Kenneth Walker and Devin Achane, are already banged up. Like, it didn't take them long to get hurt. So, you know, that's like par for the course for both these guys. DeMarcus Cousins, waiver guy for the Puka insurance. Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, I mean, I think so, Ralph. I mean, he's going to get a decent amount of looks. And is Will Levis a bust? It's a little strong, only one game in. I'm not going to call him a bust yet. Devin Achane and Raheem Mostert did not practice today. So if you got the kid from Tennessee, this is why you drafted him. He's got speed to burn. You have two guys in front of him who can't stay healthy, and both Raheem Mostert and Devin Achane. So that right away, he might be relevant as soon as week 2. What was the other big one? Oh, Jake Ferguson. So Jake Ferguson looks like he avoided disaster, right? It looked ugly. Ferguson went down. It looked like it was going to be a serious knee injury, but it looks like he's going to be week to week and has a chance to play this week. Not so lucky for David Njoku, who has a high ankle sprain. That's probably going to be a month for him. Like, the Cleveland Browns are just a mess. They are the biggest mess that I can think of in football right now. Deshaun Watson getting sued again. He's been accused of sexual assault by somebody else. I mean, this guy is just a clown. I mean, he's grossly overpaid. He sucks. I mean, if you're an Amari Cooper owner and you saw 2 catches on his ledger yesterday in a clear catch-up scenario setup, yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It's just beyond pathetic. And then Baker Mayfield goes out and does what he does, former number 1 pick of the Cleveland Browns. They got to be sick. They absolutely got to be sick. And now they're dealing with more nonsense, off the field nonsense with Deshaun Watson. Purdy doesn't score 15. I mean, it's a tough matchup. You have a glimmer of a hope there. And as far as McLaurin, I mean, we're going to start getting to the point where we're just not going to care about Terry McLaurin anymore. Like, he is what he is. And we're not there yet, but Jaden Daniels, 28 fantasy points. Great outing fantasy-wise. He really looked bad throwing the football. Now, I'm sure he was nervous. He fumbled 3 times. But I wasn't encouraged, as just from a passing aspect, throwing the football aspect, watching Jaden Daniels. Like, it was ugly throwing the football. But it was ugly watching Anthony Richardson as well, 9 for 19. Awful day throwing the football for Anthony Richardson. He puts up a monster game. So when he's fiery on all cylinders, God only knows what kind of points he's going to put up. I'm up 42. My matchup has Debo and Garrett Wilson. I think you'll be okay. That's a lot of points. I think you'll be okay. Yeah, Amari Cooper owners, sorry. Need to hold you after the week. No. You don't hold you after week 1. And Jerome Ford, the rest of the season. Listen, I don't want anybody on the Cleveland Browns. Would you sell Diggs for Puka now if I can cover wide receivers? I don't think so. I really like the way Diggs, he scored 2 touchdowns. This is a really good offense. I wouldn't do that. Yeah, Ralph, I agree with you. He could go off for sure. All right, so that's it for the injuries. Now let me get to this running back situation. So there were a lot of situations going into fantasy football yesterday, week 1, that I had a lot of interest in terms of, and I'm just pulling up some of these, the game sheets, how these running back touches were going to be distributed. And one of the biggest ones was in Tennessee with Tony Pollard trying to get his career back on track after a horrible year last year with Dallas. And then Tyjae Spears, who we all would have been tripping over each other trying to draft before they signed Tony Pollard. The thinking was going in that it was going to be a split scenario between the two of them in terms of touches and carries out of the backfield. But lo and behold, it was pretty much all Tony Pollard, who looked great. 16 carries for Tony Pollard, only 4 for Tyjae Spears, 82 yards, 5.1 per carry. Remember, prior to last season, and it's clear now that Tony Pollard was not 100% last year, he was averaging over 5 yards per carry for the Dallas Cowboys, and he averaged 5.1 yesterday, scored a touchdown, added 3 catches for 12 yards. Like, this was vintage. This is what got Tony Pollard on the cover of some fantasy football magazines, last year. So, that was, oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Ralph beat me to it. Christian McCaffrey is inactive. Breaking news, guys. Holy shit. Christian McCaffrey is inactive. Wow. Limited by Achilles and calf issues. So here we go, guys. This is why I told you to fade Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is out. Oh my God. That is unbelievable. McCaffrey out. That is just nuts. I didn't see this coming. I mean, did you? That is unreal. So Christian McCaffrey I'm stunned right now. Rain, I won 2 of my 3 matchups, and the one I lost, I outscored everybody else except my opponent and one other team. And I had Cooper Kupp in that league. Wow, Christian McCaffrey is out. So this is why I told you the number 1 handcuff was Jordan Mason. The number 1 handcuff. So we were on here for breaking news. Christian McCaffrey is out. Like, that is just unbelievable. And again, it's no surprise. It is absolutely no surprise. He's got so much wear and tear on his 28-year-old body the last couple of years. Just what a disaster. Wow, that is just unbelievable. I'm stunned. What are you going to do, though? But this is why you don't draft guys that are 28 and older. All right, getting back to the Titans. Tony Pollard looks to be, if this scenario continues, in terms of the setup, in terms of the touches, he could be a low-end 1 in PPR. Like, I don't think there's any question about it. Like, Tony Pollard could be that low-end running back 1. Like, I don't think there's any debate. Like, what we saw yesterday could continue going forward. And this is a more improved Tennessee offensive line. Now, if you're a Pollard owner and you have Tyjae Spears, obviously you continue to hold Tyjae Spears. But this was a very, very encouraging outing. Now, the other one, Chicago Bears, other side of the ledger. Khalil Herbert was getting a lot of carries this preseason. Maybe it was a showcase scenario. DeAndre Swift was really only playing on 3rd downs. But in this one, it was pretty much all DeAndre Swift. It was an ugly game, but Swift got 10 carries to only 2 for Khalil Herbert. Travis Homer got 2. It was his backfield. Did not catch a pass. All right, so this is continuing the recent trend the last couple of years with DeAndre Swift. He's just not involved in a passing game. He wasn't involved in a passing game in Philadelphia, and he wasn't involved here. But it looks like, and it makes sense with all the money that they gave him, that DeAndre Swift is going to be the guy moving forward. Pittsburgh Steelers. So how about this one? Najee Harris, 20 carries. We know Arthur Smith loves to run the football. Jaylen Warren, only 2. So 20 carries for Najee Harris. Jaylen Warren, only 2. And on the other side, it was all Bijan Robinson, pretty much nothing from Tyler Algier. So we're looking at bell cow situations for both Najee Harris, who I liked as a running back too. Wasn't a fan of his prior to last year, but with Arthur Smith in charge now, I think it's safe to say that Najee Harris is going to be a strong running back too in all leagues. And now Bijan Robinson, not great on a per touch basis. He's clearly the guy as he should, the obvious call going forward here. Cincinnati Bengals, a lot of Chase Brown love this preseason. It was pretty much Zach Moss, 9 carries for 44 yards, 3 for Chase Brown. So, 66% of the target of the snaps, the carries between the two of them goes to Zach Moss. I think Chase Brown's going to work his way into this more as we go into the season, but this was the Zach Moss show there. All right, Miami, Devin Achane and Raheem Mostert and even Jeff Wilson, once the injuries started to take out the other two. This looks to be a strict 50-50 scenario between Achane and Mostert if both guys are healthy. I still can't believe Christian McCaffrey is out. Unbelievable. Um, New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is still good. And as a matter of fact, he was working in the slot quite often in this game as a running back. And he looked good running the ball, had some extra juice. And this game was just crazy, 47-10. I mean, the Carolina Panthers was just a joke, right? Bryce Young is horrendous. Like, there's no question about it. Minnesota and the Giants, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. This was really the Aaron Jones show, and he played great. 14 carries to 8 for Ty Chandler. If this game was more competitive, Aaron Jones would have had even higher snap share. All right, the Los Angeles Chargers. Didn't talk about this one yesterday, but J.K. Dobbins. This is the J.K. Dobbins that we all have been enamored with over the years. He 10 carries for 135 yards and a score. Gus Edwards got 11 carries, only 26 yards. He was terrible. So it was a 50-50 split share between the two of them. But J.K. Dobbins was so good, you have to figure going forward he's going to be the guy. And Zamir White, 13 carries for 44 yards. Alexander Madison, 5 carries for 19 yards. It's the Zamir White, probably 2/3 to his counterpart there. James Cook, bell cow work for Buffalo. We just need those touchdowns. He's got to be able to cash in when they get near the goal line. It did not happen. He didn't score, but again, the usage was really encouraging. And then finally, Denver. So if you're a Javonte Williams owner, you can't really like what you saw there. Javonte Williams only 8 carries for 23 yards. Like, he just looks completely shot. I mean, that knee injury from a couple of years ago seems to have ruined his career. Jaleel McLaughlin, 10 carries for 27 yards. So Audric Esime got 2. This is going to be a frustrating 3-headed monster amongst all of these backs going forward, which, again, not the greatest setup. And finally, Dallas and Cleveland, Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott. Pretty much an even split. Elliott 10 carries, Ezekiel Dowdle 8. Elliott scored. Dowdle did not. Dowdle actually, his average was worse. 1 catch for 6 yards. So Dallas, they're going to get Rico Dowdle involved. I don't think there's any question. I'm just looking at some more on Christian McCaffrey. I still can't believe what happened here. Like, that's just crazy that McCaffrey is out. Unbelievable. Getting back to Dallas, Rico Dowdle is going to be a factor. Like, he's going to be a factor, and I think as the season goes on, he might get more and more, more and more leash. But I tell you what, Ezekiel Elliott, I watched that game closely. Ezekiel Elliott looked spry. Like, he looked like he had an extra burst, and maybe as the season goes on, given his age, that's going to be more of an issue for him. But he still has value, especially in standard leagues, because of the likely lion's share of snaps around the goal line. All right, so Rome Odunze, man, they're coming in fast and furious. Grade 1 knee sprain. Seek a second opinion, best case scenario. So he's probably going to miss a couple of weeks. Jordan Mason will start the game. Patrick Taylor Jr., Isaac Aranda will back up Christian McCaffrey. Jeez, I just can't believe this happened again. Christian McCaffrey, it's just unbelievable. Absolutely a joke, if you ask me. All right, now let's get to some of these busts from yesterday. And there was quite a few. I did the poll. Who you thought the biggest bust was? Marvin Harrison Jr. right now is kind of running away with it. And certainly 1 catch after being a second-round pick, no doubt legit. Like, just horrible outing for him. And the make it more frustrating is that the Cardinals scored points. Like, they moved the ball, they scored points, but there was no chemistry there between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, with that being said, I still like this offense. If you want to trade me Marvin Harrison Jr., I'll buy low on him right now. All right. My concern level of Marvin Harrison Jr. is not very high. I think he's going to be fine. Drake London, on the other hand, I'm concerned about. All right. Now, he's my ride or die. I have him on all three of my teams. Like, that was really bad. Kirk Cousins looked really bad. And they have him in the shotgun so often. It makes you wonder, is something still going on with that Achilles? I know it was his push-off leg, right? That he suffered the Achilles injury on. It was really ugly. It looks really ugly. So I'm just hoping to God this is a 1 week blip, because I definitely have my concerns for Kyle Pitts, for Drake London. I know Pitts scored, but it was ugly, and I'm rattled. So I definitely have a ton of concern for Drake London. Chris Olave, let's just say you're a Chris Olave owner, right? You're working on Sunday, you come home, you see 47 points. Oh my God, 47 points. Chris Olave must have had 12 catches for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and all he does is catch 2 meaningless passes. What the hell is that? We all know that Olave and Derek Carr do not have any chemistry. It is beyond apparent. There is no chemistry between the two of them. But in a 47-point game to score 2 points, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. I think Olave will be okay. I do like the way the offense looks. I think Olave will be okay. I'm not as concerned about him as I am for Drake London, but it was not a good day for him. Obviously. And this goes back to last year when there seemed to be no chemistry between Derek Carr and Chris Olave, and it was just exacerbated again yesterday. Dalton Kincaid, not involved. He ran a ton of routes. He had like an 88% snap share. So that's encouraging. I think the Bills are going to spread this ball around, but we all went in automatically assuming until late in the summer when I started to realize that maybe we overpaid for Kincaid, and that's why I did that video on him. He might be running more hot and cold than we think. And with Dawson Knox healthy, I think that we may not see Kincaid meet those rosy projections that many in the fantasy industry had for him. So I have moderate concern about Dalton Kincaid. Now, Amon-Ra St. Brown, what the hell was that? 2 catches. This is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, he looked like the safest first-round pick in fantasy this year, and he was barely involved. Now, him too, he ran an almost 100% snap share. Like, he was out there constantly. Jameson Williams did his thing, had his breakout game. I'm not worried about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to be just fine going forward. If somebody's panicky and you could get him and buy low, this might be your only chance to buy low on him. I would do it. Evan Ingram, 1 catch. Not worried. I think Brian Thomas could eat into his target share. It was an ugly game. The Miami Dolphins defense played really good in the second half. I'm not worried about Evan Ingram. I'm not worried about Trey McBride either. I think the same reason with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think this offense is going to be good. Who's the other one I was thinking of? There's another. Let me see. Pittsburgh, that's Buffalo, Tennessee. Chicago. Oh, the rookie quarterbacks. So obviously Jaden Daniels. I have my concerns about his throwing, but he was huge. I think Caleb Williams will be fine. So Keenan Allen, DJ Moore eventually will be fine. As a matter of fact, now their snap share is going to increase because, their target share is going to increase because Rome Odunze is injured. Joe Burrow, I am concerned about this. The offensive line has always been a problem. Still is. T. Higgins out, injured. Jamar Chase is playing distracted. I know they usually lose their first game of the season. I'm moderately concerned. I like the value that Burrow brought as a value play this summer, but it was not a good look by the Bengals yesterday. Deontay Johnson, very, very, very concerned. Myself and many other in the fantasy football community thought Deontay Johnson was headed for a monster target season. Look what Bryce Young, for all of his struggles last year, did for Adam Thielen. And he was pathetic yesterday. Pathetic. There's just no other way to put it. And he completely dragged Deontay Johnson down. This is a Mach 10 level of concern for Deontay Johnson. DK Metcalf, listen, he had a really rough matchup with Surtain. I'm not worried about him. Very low concern. Amari Cooper, 2 catches. I'm very concerned because Deshaun Watson just can't get his head out of his ass. Terry McLaurin, moderately concerned. I think he'll be fine. Jaden Daniels was nervous. I think Jaden Daniels will get better as the season goes on. So I'm not completely worried there. But anyway, guys, so that's it for today. Just wanted to jump on and do a quick stream with you guys. I appreciate it, as always. Again, take CMC out of your lineups if you have him. What a disaster. But more, I'm going to do more tomorrow. We have Waiver Wire Tuesday tomorrow, so look for those videos. I'm going to have a wrap-up for tonight's game tomorrow morning, so look for that. Until then, guys, enjoy the game, and I'll see you tomorrow.